Hello everyone, my name is Tara and welcome to Aligning to Love. In this channel I aim to spread hope, joy, peace, and love to the world by sharing goodness and love within my life. In this video I wanted to share my personal and family life updates and events and the signs that I saw along the way. In the past videos I've been doing end of the year reflections, but also just sharing memories from the big move my family did from White River Junction to Middlebury, Vermont, and just trying to capture all the memories that I had that I wasn't able to put on the calendars and just getting it organized for these videos. So I hope that in listening to some of my experiences, you might have relatable memories of your own lives that you can relate and just have humor and have comfort in knowing that you're not the only ones that may have gone through these experiences. Which is funny because I'm going to leave off at another medical piece of this. So on October 16th, my husband and I had called to see if we could be patients within a Middlebury doctor's office in town. And so I was really hoping that we would be able to be accepted and be able to transfer our files over here. In the past video I just did, I had shared that I was pumped because my daughter was able to get in. And a big piece of that is because of the strong families of Vermont and New Hampshire. The nurse that I had been working with was a big reason why I think my daughter was able to get in much easier than my husband and myself. So I'm very thankful for that nurse in the program who had helped us with the transition, and that was excellent. On October 18th, I was so excited because my friends from White River Junction, who were my neighbors in the apartment building, were able to come visit me. And I am not kidding, we had to reschedule this 3 or 4 times, either because of things that were coming up in their lives or things that we had to delay because my husband kept getting sick. And it was, we were supposed to see them early in September, but I ended up not seeing them until the October 18th. And so it was worth the wait. We had an excellent time. And it was so funny because they ended up getting lost on the way over here, but they were just in such a cheerful mood. They did get lost and they were in all these back roads, but they were having a time for themselves. They really enjoyed the scenery and all the small towns they went through, and they were just happy to get to my new house and to be able to see the location that we're at and just the setup that we have, as well as the outdoor scenery that we have living here now. And it was really special to be able to share that with them. I also got to show them the Sunrise Orchard. I know I had been there so many times in the month of October and September, but it really is this incredible view, and I wanted to be able to show them the foliage and just be relaxed, and especially after their long drive over. So, and there was a band playing when, there was a band playing when we went, and we had, it was great. We had lunch, and we didn't do too much walking up and down to get apples, but we did do just some walking around to see the views. And I was also really excited because whenever we take the stroller in the car, my husband's always the one to get it to collapse down. I was never able to pull and squeeze and pull the sections to make it collapse. And Sue was able to show me, and I finally was able to get it and do both the motions to be able to collapse it. And I was so excited because it gave me such a sense of freedom now, and I could go wherever I wanted with Juniper in the stroller by myself. And I was just so excited to have these women with me, and Sue was really excited to have me learn that, and for her to figure it out herself too, because she's always just happy when she can help others, but also give people a sense of independence, because she's always an independent person as well. Same with Lois. They're both very independent women, and they're very strong, and they're very humorous, and they're just really down to earth. And that was a really big part of the trip that I was happy to share with them. So I did take them to the apple orchard. I took them down to the lake that I grew up on Lake Dunmore. During that day, it was the No Kings protest in Middlebury, so I was a little worried about how traffic would be, but we didn't hit any, which was great. And I also just showed them around local places that either my husband and I go to, or my friends, that when I used to go out a lot more, and without my daughter, but also places that I do take Juniper as well. And then my parents were also open, so that I let them meet my parents, because I didn't know if my parents were busy, because they had been I knew that they were going to a No Kings protest, and I didn't know what time they would get home, but luckily they were home, and I was able to call them and say, hey, do you want to meet Lois and Sue? Because whenever they would come visit me in White River, Lois and Sue were always busy, and so it was nice for my parents to get to meet both parts of my friendships in different parts of my life. So I was happy about that. On October 19th, the day after their visit, Juniper had her flu shot, and I was really worried about this, because during her 18-month appointment, when I had to travel all the way back to White River, in a previous video I said it was a doctor's appointment to be at, because Juniper was strung out. We had been through so many transitions with the move, and I thought that going back to her normal doctor's office would give her a sense of calm, but I think the drive over was just, she had it. And so it was a rough time seeing her get those shots at that appointment. But this appointment for her flu shot, my mom and dad came with us, so it was a really great distraction to have Nana and Granddad there. So that was nice, and it went much smoother. And then and the night before, on the 18th, after Lois and Sue left, Dan and me and Juniper went to this place that is such a cute, I guess it's a bar, I forget. I'm not thinking of the word that I want to use, but it's a really fun venue, and there's live music, there's beer and wine, and then there's restaurant food that you can order, appetizers and things like that. There's also a pizza shop right next door, which is the perfect combination. We had a blast with the live music that was there, and my daughter Juniper was dancing up a storm. We were moving and dancing. It was such a nice, that weekend was so fun packed, getting to see friends and also spending time with my parents, and Dan had such a busy weekend, and so he finally got to let off some steam, and he loved the music there too. So that was really nice on the 18th. And then I just remember on the 20th, I was getting so happy because I was getting ready for winter, and I had ordered a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but I ordered boots that were for Juniper, and another pair of sneakers, as well as Christmas shoes for our Christmas pictures that we would be taking in November. And whenever I can get things done early, I always feel so happy, because for most of my life being a mom, I feel like I'm never more ahead. I wish I was more ahead than I always am. And so anytime that I can be ahead of the game makes me happy. And then and so another big thing that had happened, well, actually, I'll go back to the 22nd. So one fun thing that was really awesome that happened after the 18th and after the 20th, when I ordered the shoes, is my cousin Nikki on my dad's side of the family decided to take a visit and see us. And so she has two different places that she travels back and forth to. She lives in New York City, but then she's also in Bridgewater, Vermont, doing her comedy show and with her partner. And so it's been really nice having them be in Bridgewater, Vermont, because we've been getting to see them more often. And that's so, I just love it, because my dad's side of the family we don't always see as consistently as my mom's, but recently I feel like we've been getting to see her a lot more, which has been wonderful. And then the thing that I was going to say that was really sad is that the day of the No Kings protest, which was October 18th, there was a Middlebury College student that had went missing, and she had been missing for a good portion of the week. And on October 24th, that's when they had found out that she had passed away, and they had found her body. And so that was a really devastating time for the college and for the town of Middlebury, and just any loss of life is just sad. And I know there's thousands and millions of people losing their life all over the world and in war zones, and I pray and I count my blessings that I'm in a peaceful place, but it does make you just reflect on, even in the most peaceful places, and there's things that can happen. And yeah, it was just really sad to hear about that event. On the 24th, I also randomly found out. So previously, last year, I had found out, and it's a whole different topic. We were talking about the college student, and then I transitioned to a medical thing. And so last year they had found in my dentist had ordered me x-ray scans and to go to a different location to get more detailed versions of it, because she found a mass in my jaw. And I had went to the other location, and luckily they said that it's not cancerous and that it's a calcified buildup. And so I don't have to do anything to remove it until it causes me pain. And luckily I haven't had any pain, but I realized that in the move I had missed an appointment for a follow-up about that. And I usually am a type A person. Like, I'm usually ahead of the game that's the one area where I'm always ahead of the game with appointments and everything. But with the move, I guess I had missed a follow-up, and so I did a bunch of calls, and now I'm back on track with different follow-up and just paperwork that would allow me to have a year of scheduling the oral surgery if needed. So it gives me more flexibility if I ever become in pain needing to have the surgery right away. So that was a massive relief and undertaking that happened on that same weekend of the 24th, which is a big memory, because it was a lot of phone calls and a lot of going back and forth between different facilities, and that's always my least favorite thing to do. But the people I was talking to were very, very helpful and very patient, so it definitely helped the process. On the 25th, there was a lot of fun activities. The 25th and the 26th, there were a new store in Middlebury called Cookie Love, and there's the original store of Cookie Love. I forget what town it is, but it's close to Middlebury, and they're opening up another version of it right downtown. And so I had been, when we moved in August and I had heard that Cookie Love would be going into the main street in Middlebury, I was really excited. And so when I found out that we were getting to have it and opened, I was pumped. So on the 25th and 26th, there was lots of Halloween events going on, and there was a Halloween parade that went through the whole main street on both sides of the road. And it was all the towns and the organizations in Middlebury that were giving out candy to all the toddlers and all the kids in town, and I got to see my friends Ann and Scott and their kids, as well as other families that they had introduced us to at one of their summer parties. And so, oh my gosh, that was another massive highlight of my August month that I don't think I included in my August video. But going to their party was really what me and my husband needed when we were living with my parents. And actually, I think they were my first middle school and high school friends that I saw. I had said Elsie was, but well, Elsie was at that party, so I guess it still fits. But that was a really fun time, and because they have been in the area for I think like 5 years or so now, maybe less, they have gotten to know a lot of families with kids, and so they've been introducing me and Dan to them, which has been nice. And so we did the Halloween parade in town, and that was really fun. My mom came with us to help with Juniper and get to see her reactions of getting candy and putting it in her little Halloween bucket. And my mom had gotten her a little pumpkin one, jack-o'-lantern bucket for her to put her candy in. And it's so funny, out of all the things that she got that day, the most special one that she really wanted, two were fruit. It was a banana and an apple, and everyone just thought it was hysterical that she went for the fruit instead of the candy, which I'm happy that she did, so we don't have to worry about her teeth, because we've been trying to limit sugar, and so I'm happy she loves her fruit. After that day, we had went down to Rutland the day after to the kids museum, because I had never been down to that museum, and it was a rainy day, but we did end up getting to go to the farmers market in Rutland, walking around there, and then going to the kids museum, and just having another wonderful weekend for my husband and my daughter, because at this time my husband was still having alternate weekends off, and so the weekends that he didn't have Saturday and Sunday off, he'd get a Monday and a Thursday off. And so that's why I think I've also been so mixed up with what day of the week it is, because I've always been going off his schedule instead of the calendar where it's Saturday and Sundays are off. And so those were some of the major highlights of the end of October. October 27th was a really big one. My mom had told me that my cousin got engaged to her partner, and they've been together for quite some time, and so I'm really happy for them, and I'm excited for their wedding, and I can't wait to see them in person. Ever since Juniper had been born, I haven't had the time to get down to Massachusetts to see that side of the family, but it was funny because when her brothers got married, 2 years, almost 3 years ago now, I was pregnant with Juniper for both of their weddings, and so I haven't seen all of them since, and so I can't wait for her wedding, and I can't wait to, and this wedding, maybe I'll be able to actually have a alcoholic beverage, because for the other weddings, I went to like 3 different weddings the summer that I was pregnant with Juniper, and I couldn't drink, and they had these fanciest appetizers, fanciest drinks, and of course I was beyond thrilled to be pregnant and to be a soon-to-be mother, but I definitely was missing out on all of the fancy cocktails and foods, rich foods that I would not have been able to eat without getting sick at those weddings. And so I'm just so excited. This is my youngest cousin on my mom's side, and I just remember there were so many times where she was just like my pal, my just not my mini me, but like my little shadow, because there was a 10-year difference, and we would always take walks together, and I just always loved spending time with her, because we had all the boys in our families that they always were, rambunctious and loud and funny, and we enjoyed their company, but sometimes me and her would just go on these long walks and do other things and be in nature by the beach or just in neighborhoods. And it's crazy to think that she's getting married, and I'm so happy for her and the rest of the family, because now that means that all three of the kids in that family are now going to be married, and so that's weird in itself to say that. And so that's a really exciting part of the end of October for my memories. And then, yeah, October 29th, my husband finally got his flu shot. My mom had other medical appointments, and she was cleared for her checkups with skin cancer and screenings that she has to do on a yearly basis. And so, yeah, there were so many medical things, but there were also so many celebrations and social outings that were happening more often in this month. And even through the stressors, the social pieces were really just made everything worthwhile and continued to give us motivation through it all. So that was the main takeaway of life in general, but especially the months that had been really stressful for insurance and medical stuff. So I'm going to end it here, and I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I think this might be the last video I do before New Year's. I know I had tried to get all of my November and December ones uploaded, but that might be on the 1st and 2nd of the month. But I hope everyone has a happy New Year. I hope there is so much health, peace, and joy that brings people for the next year and follows everyone for the remainder of this year, but also fully into the next year. So I love you all. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.